This week on Wardens.
It's a lot of fun, and hunters are really excited. Everyone that's involved is really excited.
Conservation officers in Michigan's District 3 watch over the state's popular elk season and encounter a man who fired a muzzleloader from his truck.
Did you shoot a deer?
No, I was shooting at a stupid squirrel to see if my gun was even on.
And some DNR employees get trained on how to remove a beaver dam by using explosives. Wild animals and wild places. They're more than a picture. They're inspiration, excitement, and adventure. Patrolling and protecting these natural resources is a first-class band of peace officers. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of our great outdoors. A license to hunt elk is a coveted tag each year. During recent seasons, 200 elk licenses have been available through a lottery system to which 40,000 people apply. For 2020, the number of licenses available increased to 260. Each elk hunter that secures a license must attend a mandatory elk hunt orientation class the day before their hunt begins. They receive their elk tags at the conclusion of the class.
The best time of year. I mean, not only is it Christmas time, but this is the most fun hunt that we have. Everyone is happy. We're happy to help them. They're happy to be here. So it's a good time for all of us.
I'm pretty excited, a little apprehensive. Just nervousness, I think. It's my first, obviously, you're not getting an elk tag every year. So I'm excited, but again, looking forward to it. It'll be hopefully a success the first time around.
It's really fun to be here, and we just help everybody. A lot of people are nervous when they come in because they're so excited. They've waited their whole life for this tag. So when they come in, they don't really know what to do. So we welcome them. We try and make them feel at home. We just want them to be comfortable with the whole process and understand everything that's going on.
I finally drew a Michigan elk tag after 34 years. I've been putting in since 1984 every year, and I am excited.
This is my 7th year putting in. I know that's pretty lucky because I know a lot of guys will go 15, 20, 25, 30 years. So to get one this early on and in any elk, I know I'm very fortunate. So it's my 7th year putting in, and I came out with the golden ticket, as they said earlier.
The last 2 nights I've had elk running through the bedroom in the middle of the night, so hopefully I can get a little bit of sleep tonight, and I'll be ready. I got to meet with my guide at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm ready to go.
With a limited number of licenses, elk hunters are watched very closely by the general public and by conservation officers. In Michigan's District 3, Officers Kyle Cherry and Sidney Collins are on patrol during the opening weekend of the December elk season, with elk in the minds of many in the area. Officer Cherry encounters a hunter who's bagged another game species.
Well, congratulations. You're the lucky hunter? Awesome. I should say the skilled hunter, not luck, right? If you want to try to put it on that antler, you can. Otherwise, I just cut a hole through the gambrel or in the leg and then just notch it through. If you have a zip tie or a piece of string or anything you can use. So, but you got I'll take a look at your license real quick. Congratulations. So, yeah, I would, let's stick it on probably the leg would probably work best with this one.
Use the antlerless one?
What's that?
Use the antlerless one?
I would use the antlerless one on it, yeah. So.
We were having a debate about that.
Yep. I mean, that one's less than 3. Anyway, yeah.
The antler was laying underneath the deer. When we rolled it over, it was the one, I told her, I said, follow the trail back where you shot it. I said, you could probably find it. Because it looked like it had just fallen off. It looked pretty fresh.
I was trying to stage him and move him so he looked even bigger in the pictures. And then he was laying underneath of him.
That's big body deer.
Meanwhile, Officer Collins receives a call to meet up with another conservation officer.
So right now we're gonna head over to a suspect who just shot out of a window. In the state of Michigan, you cannot shoot out of a motor vehicle. So we're gonna head over that way. Sounds like Sergeant Depew has already got him apprehended. We're just gonna go and assist. are you from?
Johannesburg.
Johannesburg, okay. Did you shoot a deer?
No, I was shooting at a stupid squirrel to see if my gun was even on.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
When beaver dams create problems or have the potential to create problems, the Michigan DNR seeks methods for getting rid of them. In order to safely remove them with explosives, employees of the DNR must have proper instruction.
What we're doing is training for our statewide wildlife DNR and forestry staff on explosives handling, specifically tailored towards beaver dam management. And what we're doing is teaching them the tools to properly, safely, and legally be able to handle issues we have where beaver dams are on state land and they're causing an infrastructure risk where they may flood out a road, flood out a campground, or even something downstream that may impact private individual ownership.
This tool, use of explosives for beaver dam removal is so important in the world of reducing and eliminating beaver damage by way of flooding, reducing flooding, and there's definitely a need out there for it.
Kelly Thiel is a certified blasting instructor from Wisconsin. After beginning the day with classroom training, Thiel and his students head to the field to get hands-on experience in removing beaver dams from a river. For each blast, one of the students operates the controls to initiate the explosion with the instructor by his side.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
Safety is number one in all aspects, whether you're transporting, storage, and using, like we did today with these beaver dams, proper procedures, hookups, charge placement, all that stuff equals efficiency and safety.
Some of these dams can be quite large and they can back up water for miles in some cases. And it floods out timber. It could raise lake levels on a river or lake situation where you flood out houses. The big thing a lot of times cases is it'll put a road underwater and you may run the risk of washing out a road. If the problem originates on state land, that's when we would be involved to come in and try and remove the beaver dam. And we also try and encourage people to come in and harvest those, if it's in the fall during the trapping season, the open trapping season, to harvest the beaver legally. Otherwise we may have to bring in a professional to come in and remove the beavers other times of the year, because otherwise we'll just rebuild it right back.
Once you have it in the mud, it's sitting up there. I tilt it slightly to allow that air gap in there. To date, I removed over 5,000 beaver dams with explosives, so I feel I'm credible in what I'm doing and saying, and I just want to pass that on, because what I've learned in 35 years, I've passed on basically in one day all the things I've learned.
I gotta test it for continuity.
Yep, you're gonna do your check. Yep.
Sometimes you can do these things by hand, but if you've ever tried to pull apart a beaver dam by hand, you can realize how much of a work that can be. And this, while it seems like an awful lot to go through, you can efficiently and quickly remove a beaver dam. As you saw, we blasted that dam 10 minutes ago and it's already gone down 2 feet. So, and that's part of it too, is how you do this. You can control the downstream impacts. There's a science to this. One, to do it safely, but two, to mitigate the impacts of what you're going to do. We don't want to push a lot of water downstream and cause impacts as well by doing this.
Your beaver dams may change in size and shape and construction, but your charge placement typically is the same, and that's kind of what I taught them today, is you don't need to overkill a dam, you just need to do enough to get the job done, because when you do that, you have less fly material. That's the biggest cause of explosive accidents, especially in beaver dam removal, is fly debris, rocks. The more you put into something, the more stuff flies. So if you can keep that somewhat contained and still get your end result, that's what I strive to do and teach.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
Officer Kyle Cherry is one of several conservation officers patrolling hunters during Michigan's late elk season. Every successful hunter must have their animal checked by someone from the DNR, such as a CO or a biologist.
So who was the hunter again? You? Okay, perfect. Yeah, same stuff. I'll still need your ID real quick.
Yeah, I guided through
Perfect.
it. Made it a little easier today, sir.
Yeah, perfect.
2 days in a row.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I wrote X on there and did the punch thing, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, I got you. Right, well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. It was fun.
I will be able to verify your location to them and let you guys get going to the check station pretty soon. So, but and that was that's about where it was. You said about where it was when you shot.
It turned.
Okay, perfect.
That was it. So.
Well, good shot then. So.
Thank you.
Good, exciting stuff, right?
It was really good.
Okay, sounds good. Well,
Thank
congrats
you for all
again.
you do.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We do.
Take care, guys.
It's a tremendously unique opportunity for hunters in Michigan that are fortunate enough to draw an elk tag. Individuals that get an antlerless tag cannot apply for, obtain, or purchase an elk license or chance for 10 years. A person issued any elk license is ineligible for life.
It's the hunt of a lifetime, and it's whether people get cows or bulls. They are so excited and so happy coming into the check station. They're required to come in and check the animal at this time of year. They're just dancing. I mean, they're shaking, they're excited, they talk. It's really fun.
The day before each elk season begins, there is a mandatory orientation for everyone whose elk season starts the next day. Oftentimes, Sergeant Mark Depew addresses the class of future elk hunters.
Everybody's seen Willy Wonka, Chocolate Factory. You people are the golden ticket owners. So, I mean, I can feel the aura every time I leave here and do one of these. I wind up getting a lotto ticket because hopefully some of your aura rubs off.
Michigan's wild elk herd is located on the northern portion of the state's lower peninsula. The animals are a source of pride for small towns in the region, and the hunting season is an event that brings together many people in the community.
We're in Atlanta, Michigan. Behind us is the elk pole. Everybody, or not everybody, but typically they bring all their big elk here, and so everybody can view and everybody can see what we work so hard for to keep these elk around and to do this hunt.
It's not just us at the check station. There's a conservation club that comes that has cookies and donuts and coffee. We've had the Elk Foundation there to score animals. It's kind of a big party. We have people come and set up trailers and just come and watch what goes on there. So it's a lot of fun, and hunters are really excited. Everyone that's involved is really excited.
While on patrol, Conservation Officer Kyle Cherry has encountered another person who's tagged an elk.
Good work, guys. So who's the hunter? You are? Gotcha. Okay. Got it tagged already. Perfect. You have your driver's license?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. So how'd it go? Could you guys see it from the road right there initially, or were you already out here?
Each hunter that gets an elk must report the location where they shot their animal, so COs and other DNR staff inspect the animals and document the kill sites.
Nice. Just one shot, or how many shots?
2 shots.
2 shots. Did the first one?
Clean miss was by itself out front.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. How many animals was with it?
I didn't count. 30. 30 plus.
Roughly 30. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me. I'm gonna relay some information to confirm your location here, and then you guys will be clear to head to the check station in Atlanta and all that kind of stuff. So, or do whatever you need to do. So, give me 1 second.
9:20.
We do the population survey. We determine how many are out there. We know what our goal range is, and that's a big factor in then how many permits are given out. We then set the seasons such that there's more pressure on elk on the outside of the range than the inside of the range, because we're trying to reduce damage to agriculture. We're trying to reduce elk moving on to areas of mostly private land because we can't control them. We lose control of them then. And so we have our season set so that in the early season, it's just on the outer edge of the range. The core is not open for hunting. And on the late season, we have permits that are good in the core, in certain areas in the core, but all permits are good on the outside of the range again. So again, when we're trying to keep pressure on animals outside and keep more of the animals on the state land within the designated elk range.
Sergeant Mark Depew and Officer Sidney Collins are on patrol during the opening weekend of Michigan's late-season elk hunt. They've encountered a man who Sergeant Depew observed firing his muzzle loader from his truck. The man says he was shooting at a squirrel to sight his firearm.
Did you shoot a deer?
No, I was shooting at a stupid squirrel to see if my gun was even on.
What's the reasoning behind that?
But I haven't even shot it this year.
Why wouldn't you just go set out somewhere?
I should have just got out of the truck and did it, I guess. I didn't think about it.
Okay, maybe set up at a range somewhere? Or?
Yes, or in my own yard, really.
Right. Okay.
It's been loaded all season. I was surprised it even went off, to be honest with you.
It's been loaded in your vehicle all season?
No, with powder, the same powder in the bullet in it.
Okay. All right.
He says he shot a squirrel.
Yeah, that's what he told me too.
It would just enhance it. So he can't shoot over. This is all private. And the guy I know the guy who wanted to press charges. So we've got discharge, firearm from motor vehicle, and then trespass, wreck trespass. If we can find the critter that he shot. When he shot, I saw.
Were you up here?
Oh yeah, I was following him, doing the hill thing.
Sneak,
looking over top and on binoculars. And then all of a sudden I see the gun come out and this huge freaking fire come boom out this
What was it? I barely saw.
A muzzleloader. Yeah.
Okay.
At least he's got the right stuff.
Do you think you hit it?
What's that?
Do you think you hit it?
Heck no.
Officer Collins searches the man's truck but does not find anything illegal. Later, Sergeant Mike Mishar arrives on the scene.
I apologize. I wasn't trying to.
Sure. Stuff happens. We all make mistakes.
I wasn't trying to be a liar.
I get it, but we all make mistakes, so no more lying, no more telling stories. Buck or doe, what were you shooting at?
I wasn't shooting at a deer.
You're shooting at what?
At that squirrel that was sitting right there, I swear.
A squirrel?
Yes.
No deer?
No.
The other sergeant saw a bunch of deer and your gun out the window and they were just in your
I didn't even see any deer. He said they were down here. I didn't even see them.
Okay. Did you kill the squirrel?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
it took off running.
You're shooting at a squirrel with a muzzleloader.
Yes.
I find that really hard to believe.
I swear.
Well, don't swear, but I find that really hard to believe. So now's the time to be truthful. I mean, what's done is done.
Right.
We all make mistakes, right? How old are you?
53.
53, okay. You've made mistakes before, right?
Yes.
You got kids?
Yes.
What do we teach our kids?
Not to do that.
No, but if they screw up, tell the truth, right?
Yes.
So now's the time to tell the truth. What's done is done. You weren't shooting at a squirrel. I know that. He knows that.
I shot at a deer.
I know you did, but that's what I'm saying.
And I didn't.
Think you missed it?
Oh, I guarantee you.
Okay. Buck or doe or?
It was a doe.
Doe? Okay.
Yeah.
So this was just a chance deal. You're driving along?
Yeah, it was too, and I've never done anything.
Okay. Well, like I said, I appreciate you being honest. The bottom line is you did something kind of dumb. So now
I'm
you got to
probably
pay
going
the
to
price.
jail, huh?
That's entirely up to Sergeant Depew. So, but I appreciate you being
know what?
honest.
I know him. He's Depew from Traverse City.
He is. Yep.
You know, he arrested me for third offense. I think it was third offense. Maybe it was second offense. Drunk driving.
Is that right?
Probably, I'm going to say maybe 15, maybe 17 years
That'd be about
ago.
right. That would be about right. That's him.
No.
Yep, you guys meet again.
So typically we have to inventory the car when we're going to tow something, just any monetary, any bigger items, any expensive things, just so we can keep track of things, because when it goes to the wrecker, it's pretty much out of our hands. So we just want to make sure we have everything, and so make sure that he can get everything back. So Sergeant Depew's going to take him to jail.
Can you give me a description of the vehicle?
He's driving, he's suspended, he's got license restrictions, so he can't be driving, he can only be driving to and from work.
I swear to God.
You already told me that you swore to God about the damn squirrel.
I know, I lied. I shouldn't have lied.
So, yeah.
Dumb.
I told you we were going to figure it out.
It was dumb.
Going to jail, but I'm going to cut you a break. You're gonna just stand right there for just a second.
I am going to jail?
We're going to go take it for prints.
Today, we're going to issue him 4 tickets. One is for the wreck trespass because he discharge his firearm onto private property. Not only is it private property, but it's fenced, it's posted, and it is farmland. He didn't have any hunter's orange. He shot from the motor vehicle, which is a violation, and he also he does have a restricted license. So at this point, he's not able to just be driving around. He can only go to and from work. He's got some other restrictions as well. So Sergeant Depew will be taking him to the Otsego County Jail for fingerprinting, and go from there. Well, good luck to you, man.
Well,
make it a little better.
Can't get no worse.
Well, you know, at least you're not out here drinking, being a hooligan.
No,
but
I don't drink.
But maybe make it smarter.
Being nice.
In this case, this hunter took a plea deal and pled guilty to recreational trespass and paid a court-ordered fine of $365. His muzzleloader was confiscated and condemned. This week on Wardens, a conservation officer in District 4 focusing on salmon anglers questions a waterfowl hunter.
So I just want you to leave the action closed and then load the magazine for me.
Third grade students from West Michigan get some lessons on salmon and sea lampreys.
How long were the walleye though?
How long do they have to be there?
Yeah, you tell me.
And officers in D2 patrol anglers on the ice. Wild animals and wild places. They're more than a picture. They're inspiration, excitement, and adventure. Patrolling and protecting these natural resources is a first-class band of peace officers. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of our great outdoors. January in Michigan's Upper Peninsula means it's ice fishing season for many of the area's outdoor enthusiasts. In Escanaba, in the state's District 2.
Alrighty, well, good luck. You have a good one.
Conservation officers Bobby Watson and Chris Lynch are checking on ice anglers. Most of them are targeting fish from their ice shanties.
Perfect. You can closer to a dinner?
Closer, yeah.
Check your license real quick.
Here, it's on my phone.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, nothing else in the shack? No other fish? All right, cool. Appreciate it. You have a good day. How you doing?
Good.
Catch any fish the rest of the day yesterday?
No, you know what? You jinxed us.
I did.
We didn't catch nothing after you left.
That's not my fault.
We're just bad fishermen.
Yeah.
A fisherman that C.O. Watson encounters wonders if it's okay to cook his fish in the fishing shack immediately after he catches them.
You mean like cook them up and eat them right out here? Yeah, a couple issues come up when that happens because you know, the whole mutilated fish and all that. You can't have clean fish basically on the ice. If you're frying them up, and we can tell that you're cooking fish and stuff like that. And it's one thing if it's like a short walleye, if it's perch, you know, it's easy to.
I've been asking around.
Yeah, it's easy to tell if we see a pile of perch on the ice that they're clean perch and not clean walleye, short walleye or something like that.
So you would.
Yeah, I'd be hesitant to do that with a walleye,
Right.
just because how do we know? Unless it's like a monster walleye or something. Okay. But even then, you know, technically you're not supposed to have the mutilated fish on the ice.
Oh.
But I mean, there's campers and stuff out here, and it happens all the time.
That's
so.
what made me think of it.
Yeah. So it happens for sure. We just kind of.
Nice to do someday, but.
Yeah, we just kind of deal with it case by case basis, you know. So, But all right, well, you have a good one. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
In Michigan, each angler is allowed to have 3 lines in the water. Officer Lynch encounters a fisherman who has too many lines out and asks C.O. Watson to give him a hand on checking the lines that are still under the ice.
You want to pull these up just to confirm they're baited and get some pictures?
Yep. Which one of these lines are you gonna pull up?
Probably this one.
Probably this one, so I'll leave this up for you.
Okay.
Let me get a picture of that real quick though.
Sure.
In this case, for having too many lines in the water, This fisherman pled guilty and paid a court-ordered fine of $175.
Just fish too many lines, just the equipment used. So what you'll do is contact this number, okay, tomorrow, within 10 days. Tomorrow would be the earliest. I'll turn it in tomorrow morning. Monday afternoon, they'll be ready for you, but just make sure you do it within 10 days. You can go there. Most guys just call just because it's more convenient. You can mail it in.
That was a pretty clean cut one right there. My partner, Chris Lynch, he just came up to a contact, guy fishing off the back end of his truck. He had 2 tip-ups out with 2 jigging poles, 1 in each hand. So a total of 4 lines, and you're only allowed 3 in the state of Michigan. So pretty clean cut. The guy he hadn't read the rule book, wasn't aware of the rules. That's a pretty basic rule too. Most people that come out and fish are aware of that, you know. It states right in the rule book that 3 lines is the max allowed. So pretty easy one to handle. The guy was very cooperative, so just a pretty routine ticket.
Officer Rebecca Hoover starts her workday by patrolling salmon anglers on the Betsy River in Michigan's District 4. She could easily spend her entire shift here because so many fish are still coming to the river to spawn. But it's early October, and that means the archery deer season is a few days along, and waterfowl season has just started in this part of the state. So early in her shift, CO Hoovers receives a call to head to another county for something completely unrelated to salmon.
It states that they're hunting with unplugged shotguns. He didn't see them, but he can just tell by the number of shots that they've been firing.
This caller said, hey, there's a group of what I think might be 4 guys on the river. I heard 21 shots in 1 volley. Obviously the complainant is an avid duck hunter. He says, and a person can only have 3 rounds in their shotgun when they're waterfowl hunting. So unless there's actually like 7 guys, there's probably someone with some unplugged guns. That's what the complaint is there's just a lot of shooting going on at one time.
Officer Hoovers hasn't yet found the waterfowl hunting group that she received a complaint for, but she does spot a boat that appears to belong to duck hunters.
Can I take a look at your stuff while we're here? You guys are going back to Grass Lake, is that where you started? All right, since you're driving back by, let's take a look at your stuff, okay? Is your gun unloaded right now?
Yes.
Okay, do me a favor. Aim it away from me. Use the shots. Hi, Molly. Use the rounds that you would normally use. Yep, close the action. Oops, knew she was gonna do that, right? So I just want you to leave the action closed and then load the magazine for me with the rounds that you would normally be using.
Stop.
Oops. All right, you see what's going on right there? You have 3 in the magazine.
Oh.
Can you put another one in the magazine?
No. It won't. It's got that little plug.
Okay, but if you had 1 in the chamber, you could still have 3 in the magazine, so you can carry more than 3.
Oh.
See where I'm going with that? Go ahead and unload them for me. Ma'am, do you have your shotgun with you, or are you not hunting today?
I don't shoot a
Okay.
Waterfowling guns must be plugged to hold no more than 3 shells. This hunter's gun had room for 3 shells in the magazine. Since a 4th round would fit in the chamber, this man's shotgun is not properly plugged.
If you were running 3.5s, it would be plugged. Because you're running 3s, and I always make you use your own, for that reason, because everybody runs something different. You're not plugged. Do you understand why I say that? Because you can get 3 in the magazine, and then you could have a 4th in the chamber, so you're unplugged. So we got to work on the plug. So you are getting a ticket for having an unplugged gun. Otherwise, if everything else is fine, then everything else is fine, okay? So if you just hold still in the rain, cover up whatever you don't want to get wet, give me a couple minutes, I'll be right with you, okay?
It takes about 5 hours to drive from where Officer Hoovers is patrolling in Michigan's Lower Peninsula to where CO Bobby Watson is in the state's Upper Peninsula.
I'll dump them out real quick.
Officer Watson is checking on ice fishing anglers.
You catch any walleye or no?
Over on, I don't know what, over on the other reef over there, we caught some short ones.
Okay.
Small leechers.
Yeah.
But no keepers.
Yeah. Hey, DNR, how you doing? How's it going today?
Not very good.
No? Pretty slow?
I'm just taking a
Oh, I woke you up?
Whoa.
Oh, jeez. Were you laying down?
Oh, yeah, I lay right down here.
That's good. Yeah, it's a gorgeous fish.
Yeah, he was hoping to get a 30-incher, you know, because
Yeah.
he doesn't have a 30-incher yet.
Okay. Yeah, take a look at the fish.
Yeah, go ahead. Anything else you want to look at, let me know.
Alrighty.
We caught some other fish a couple days before.
Okay.
They're clean though.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one. And we had some perch.
Okay, where are the perch at?
They're clean.
Oh, you cleaned them up already?
Yeah.
Okay.
For our trip.
Yep. Okay.
About 4 walleye.
Where are the carcasses at?
This fisherman has cleaned his fish already. As a result, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, for Officer Watson to ascertain if the walleye were long enough to keep.
Yeah, can you pull them out for me? These are all the perch?
Yeah, there's a 29-inch northern that I did chunk up just because we were ready to leave, but we're not violators.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Do you have any pictures of them or anything?
I do, definitely. There's the 29.
Okay.
And there's our catch.
The other ones? Can I see this?
Yep.
How long were those ones?
11-inch the perch were all small.
Okay. How long were the walleye though?
How long do they have to be? They were
yeah, you tell me.
Sea lamprey are like cold-blooded killers.
The Michigan DNR aims to get as many people as possible involved and interested in the outdoors. One way in which they try to get young people involved is through the Salmon in the Classroom program. It's a very interactive, participatory program in which students raise salmon and ultimately are responsible for their survival and release.
The Salmon in the Classroom program is not a stocking program, it's an education program. Our goal is to help create stewards of the environment and help kids and their teachers understand our natural resources and what they can do to be a part of the big picture for the future and for their kids' future.
Now, have you ever seen a fish with a Band-Aid? No! They don't have Band-Aids down there.
Melissa Jackham is a third-grade teacher at Knapp Charter Academy in Grand Rapids. As a part of the Salmon in the Classroom program, Ms. Jackham welcomed a guest into her class who is an expert on sea lampreys.
Ms. Jackham is going to be one of our Sea Lamprey in Michigan Education, or SLIME program teachers. It's a new program that the Great Lakes Fishery Commission is running in cooperation with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. We're partnering with the Salmon in the Classroom teachers. At the end of the year, once those teachers have released their salmon, they would oftentimes have an empty tank for the last few weeks of the school year. And so we're now giving live sea lamprey to keep in those same tanks once they've released their salmon.
The recreational fishing industry of the Great Lakes is worth over $7 billion. Without two invasive species, alewives and sea lamprey, anglers may not be able to enjoy the same fishing opportunities for salmon in the Great Lakes that are currently available.
So the ultimate reason that we now have salmon in the Great Lakes is that sea lamprey invaded the Great Lakes, which happened many decades ago when sea lamprey first invaded the Great Lakes. They absolutely devastated populations of lake trout, which at the time supported very valuable fisheries. Those lake trout were not just supporting valuable fisheries, though. They were also providing a number of valuable ecosystem services. Along with those sea lamprey, another fish from the Atlantic Ocean were invading, and that's the alewife. The alewife were being consumed, were being eaten by the lake trout while we still had lake trout in the Great Lakes. But once sea lamprey devastated lake trout populations, the alewife just exploded in numbers. They were greatly out of control, greatly abundant, and causing lots of problems. They would die off in droves in foul beaches. Nobody would want to spend their Saturday afternoon swimming or playing on a beach with 1,000 rotting alewife carcasses. And so ultimately the Michigan DNR, Howard Tanner and others decided to stock salmon into the Great Lakes, salmon from the Pacific Ocean, in order to provide a valuable recreational fishery as well as to control alewife populations. And that was a very successful idea. Had sea lamprey not invaded the Great Lakes, we might not have salmon in the Great Lakes, and we likely would not have the salmon in the classroom here in Grand Rapids.
I talked to my kids the next day after we had the lesson, and I asked them, you know, what did they say to their parents, and I even had some parents respond back to me emailing, like they couldn't believe they touched this lamprey and it wasn't as gross as they thought, and it felt really neat. And I feel like to them it was getting over that barrier of being afraid, or this thing with this crazy mouth was not gonna, you know, bite them and stuff. And I feel like they were very excited by it, to the fact that they were going home and telling these stories to their parents.
The kids just love seeing sea lamprey. The reactions of pretty much everybody, any age, from a young child to an adult, everyone has an immediate response to sea lamprey. Some think sea lamprey are pretty cool looking. Most people are rather terrified or horrified of the sea lamprey. Some people won't even come within 10 feet of the sea lamprey in the tank. But for the most part with kids react to sea lamprey with a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of excitement. Most of the kids actually do want to touch or handle the live sea lamprey. We find it's oftentimes the adults that don't want to touch the sea lamprey.
After raising salmon for the majority of their school year, the culmination of the program is when the students who have been watching them for several months get to release them into a body of water near their school. For Miss Jacobs' class, that means into the Grand River near downtown Grand Rapids.
Okay, there he goes. You gotta jump fast, otherwise he gets caught in the, there he goes.
Yep, and then the back corner, there you go. There he is.
I think that this is a really cool idea that schools are doing about getting salmon eggs and then releasing them, because that's helping out the population. I think that's really cool.
My brother here really likes to fish, and it's really fun to see just fish. I really like to go to the salmon ladder. It's amazing, and that I've learned that they have a lot of stages of their adulthood, and that when they're juvenile, they get spots. It's just a really amazing creature that God had created.
The look on the kids' faces is always the same. They're very excited. They've done this. This is their project, and this is the successful culmination of that project, and they get to release those little fish into the waterway. So I got to put a little bit of water in.
Officer Becky Hoobers has encountered a waterfowl hunter whose gun isn't correctly plugged for the shells he's using.
He's getting a citation for having an unplugged gun. That doesn't make him a bad man. I think he just didn't pay attention to the proportions when he decided to take his brand new Benelli out today. And we're not taking the gun away, I'm just documenting some information on it. And same with his shells.
He has base, woodcock, sharp-tailed grouse. He has a waterfowl application, but no license.
Although this hunter has a lot of licenses and permits, he does not have a valid waterfowl hunting license.
In this stack right here, there is no waterfowl license. You bought the stamp, you took the survey, you bought the base, but I don't see the $12 waterfowl license, so you're missing a Michigan waterfowl license. I'm giving you a warning for that part. I mean, okay, so you gotta run out and get yourself the Michigan waterfowl license. Okay. It got missed. I know that you meant to buy it because you have a big old pack, but it didn't get, they didn't charge you for it. So yeah, that's an extra $12 somewhere that didn't come up. You got all the surveys, okay? So pretty much probably call it a day, get your stuff squared away, and then maybe start again tomorrow.
And you don't have any of the carcasses in here or anything like that?
Nope, like I said, we got rid of those.
Okay.
Michigan Conservation Officer Bobby Watson has encountered some fishermen who filleted their fish while they were still on the ice. Officers Chris Lynch and Rob Freeborn arrive on their snowmobiles to assist C.O. Watson.
So they're just getting ready to leave. They're just packing up fish until noon because that's when their license dies. And they have all their fish cleaned already. They have one nice walleye sitting on water right now, but then they have bags of fish meat. And there's 3 walleye in the bags that I could find that they'd be close, you know? Yeah. Their carcasses were picked up by their guide already. And they have a couple pictures, but you really can't tell. It's kind of the angle. You don't have a good view on the length. When I asked him what the length was, he kind of balked. He didn't even really, he asked me how long they have to be. So, you know, clearly he didn't know that they were 15 inches.
Where are they from?
Wisconsin, I believe. Yeah.
Good mutilated fish.
Mutilated fish. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
That seems hard to say. I mean, if you can tell they're huge,
That's the thing.
But if they're smaller,
Come take a look at them, see what you guys think. Unless those are big perch, which they could be. You don't know. See, the problem, we can't tell what is what, and we can't measure your fish, obviously. And that, it's kind of the issue. These aren't, they're just cleaned out, you know, they're not frozen or smoked or anything like that.
I didn't think we were doing anything wrong.
No, I understand, you know, being in a camper and stuff, it kind of makes things a little bit cloudy, but you can see from my perspective.
I totally understand.
You know, did you catch these today? Are they 13, 14, 15? You know, we don't know.
You're not going to tell me that
It's that much
4
bigger.
inches.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you they're both short.
Whether it's
hard
4
to prove,
inches or
so in
not.
this situation, mutilated fish
Because we
is
clean the
completely
fish,
fine.
obviously we can't
They don't
clean
know
the fish
the size of it is.
No, that's the thing. We don't know the
Meaning
size.
they never measured it.
Yeah.
In this case, for possessing illegally mutilated fish, this fisherman pled guilty and paid a court-ordered fine of $240.
Thanks, guys. I'm
All right.
sorry.
All right.
I won't clean fish anymore.
Like I said, just a lesson learned. You know, it makes it very difficult for us to
No, yeah,
determine
I
if
totally
it's...
understand, but I'm trying to teach my son right. So.
No, I understand. I understand. I appreciate you cooperating with
Sorry.
us. So basically, in the state of Michigan, you're not allowed to possess mutilated fish on the ice or in the water or anything. Essentially, you have to wait until you get back to your house or until you're going to process that fish to clean it. And what we ran into with that guy is he's on the ice, he's in a camper, and he cleaned all of his fish. And then the guide came and picked up the carcasses. Well, without the carcasses, we have no idea of knowing even remotely how long that fish was. He did have some pictures. The smaller walleye were lying next to the perch, and they would have been really close. They might have been sublegal, they might have been legal, but it's impossible to tell.